Alright, what we're going to do here is kind of a quick little lesson in alignment. In this case, I'm looking at design for an FRP style frame. It's a scalloped edge frame. And we're going to put a little like clip art in each corner. And I'm going to show you how to basically line that up in a few different ways. First up, the quickest way to do anything is to use our design. So right now it says our wedding day, and that is lined up on the frame, or at least it should be. Okay, so let's say we want to put a clip art on each side of that, and then maybe change the words or just get rid of the words altogether. Before we do anything, let's get that clip art in here. Don't delete anything that's already there. So I'm just gonna randomly pick something. Let's I don't know, let's say we'll do this leaf. Okay, so I'm drawing a leaf here, and let's say I want to put a leaf in each corner. I'm going to grab the corners to make the leaf just the right size that I want. Okay, now I want a mirrored image of the leaf over here, so I'm going to make a copy of it. Clip on copy and then paste, and then I'll just mouse over it and then click and drag to pull it off to the side. A shortcut, let me delete this. A shortcut would actually be if you hold your shift key down and then click on the clip art there and then move it, it'll actually move a copy, and you don't have to hit copy and paste. So that's just a little shortcut. The leaf itself over here, I'm going to select that, and then under my transformation tools I'm going to do a vertical mirror, and that will flip it. So now I've got one leaf kind of pointing out to the left and the other pointing out to the right. Alright, let me exaggerate this a little bit so you see what we're working with. We want to get them first lined up to each other. So I'm going to select my anchor first and then hold the control key down and select the other leaf. Using my alignment tools here, I'm going to line it up horizontally across from each other. Okay. Now if I look at this, it looks pretty good, right? But I still can't tell if it's necessarily centered left and right. Let me just move them both off to the side a little bit, and you'll catch my drift. They are directly across from each other. That's what we want. What we're going to do right now is we're going to group them together, make it one object, and then we're going to use our wedding day as the anchor. Hold your control key down and then select the leaves, and with your alignment tools you can center them up on each other, and now they are equally spaced from left to right on the frame. And if you want to bring them down a little bit, you can select them and then just tap your arrow key to bring them down a little bit. You can also hold your control key if you want to move something up and down without it going off at an angle. You can also move it left and right this way, but this will allow you to bring it down a little bit without heading off the side at all. Okay, so really those should be lined up, and then if we want to call this fall fling or something like that, you can do that. Or if maybe you want to get rid of those words altogether, just hit the delete button there after you select them. So the question is, like, well, let's say you don't. Let's just delete this all together, and now you've got this open space, and you're like, well, how do I line it up? Over on the machine, you're going to have to check it with a red light, and the most precise way to do that, in my opinion, is to draw a shape. We'll draw a rectangle here, and I'm just going to click and drag and draw a rectangle about the size of the area that I want to engrave in. Okay, I'll make it a little bigger here. Alright, now after I draw that rectangle, click on your selection mode so you don't continue to draw rectangles. Anything you put in the program is going to come in as a color black. We're going to set this to vector so we can watch it actually engrave, or watch the red light draw the outline of this box. So click on your box, go down to your laser colors, and then I'm going to click on the color red. Make sure there's nothing in these other check boxes. Make sure the only check you have is in this column here, which is your vector mode column. Just to clear up the screen here so you don't see, it doesn't look like a big mess there, I'm going to click this little check box to turn the transparency off on the layers. So you see everything that would actually engrave is right here. So I have this box now. If I hit the run button up here, if I go to laser it, the color red, as you look across here, says vector. Okay, that means the laser's gonna follow the contour of whatever you drew that is in the color red. Your speed here, you can adjust that to maybe make it go around that rectangle rather fast. I don't know, we'll make it 50%. And then I'm going to have it go around a couple of times so it's easier to see exactly where it's at. I would hit run now and then go over to the laser and turn the red light on, make sure the light's on, and then run it. And you'll watch that red light and it'll draw this rectangle on your frame. Now if that rectangle doesn't look centered, what you do then is you just move that rectangle until it is centered. And you know, if you're looking at it and you're saying, well, it needs to move over about 1/8 of an inch to the left and just bump it up a little bit, you can actually use your arrow keys to move it just a little bit, very little bit at a time. So I'll just tap up a few times with the arrow keys, and if I wanted to move it exactly 1/8 of an inch to the left, I could actually start to move it. See, I've got these dashed lines going, and then hit the F2 button, and this will give me what's called a relative shift. Well, I'm going to move it -0.125 inches to the left, and then on the y-axis I don't want to move it at all. So I'll hit OK, and that moved the box from the original location 1/8 of an inch to the left. So that's just another way to do it. Run it with the red light on your machine again. If you're still off just a little bit, you can use your arrow keys to move it around until you're satisfied. But once this box is lined up, consider that your anchor. Anything you draw or put in that anchor now, let's go back to our leaves. Okay, I'll make a leaf and I'm going to make it big enough that it'll fit in there, filling up the space, but small enough that it's not outside the edge of that box, because we watched the outside of that box and it was pretty close to the edge of the frame. Okay, so if I engrave this, I know it's going to fit inside that area that we just drew the box on the frame. So I'm just going to park one over here. I'm going to exaggerate it, make it off a little bit. We'll make a copy by holding the shift key down and then moving it. It actually creates a copy. That copy, I'm going to use my transformation tools and flip it. Okay, and now I'm going to line them up to each other. Hold the control key down, select them both, use your alignment tools and line them up to each other, and then I can still group them together, and then I can use the box as my anchor and then select my leaves and then center them using my alignment tools. And now I've got a leaf on each side. Now, if you want them further apart, that's pretty easy. Just ungroup them. Select one leaf at a time there. Let's move this one off to the side. Since I have them lined up to each other already, let me hit the back button here. The easiest thing to do is hold your control key down while you move it, and that way it doesn't get out of alignment. So we'll move this over a bit. Hold your control key down again and select them both. Group them back together, and now we can select the box as our anchor again, then select the leaves and use our alignment tools to line them up. So you see that now we have the leaves really close to each end. They are aligned up to each other, and we know that they're going to fit on there and they're going to be lined up because we watched this box draw on the frame, and that was lined up. Now, very, very crucial step before you actually engrave these leaves on your frame. Select the box and delete it. Okay, otherwise you're going to end up engraving the box too. So let me back out here, and you'll see that this is all that's on layer 1, so that's what's going to engrave. I can turn the transparency back on so you get an idea of the outline of the frame. That background though is not, it's a estimate, it's not precise, so don't always rely on that red outline in the background to judge where something's going to engrave. Always use our designs as your anchor, because those have been lined up and tested. That should, hopefully that gets you all squared away. If you have any additional questions, just let us know. Thanks.